Right, this is our last week before end of grade test. Keep the cheering down, it's too loud. We are going to spend some time this week looking at best practices for test taking, looking at some strategies we can all use, and practicing using those and talking through them. If you listen to this entire video, you will find that you're going to get really good grades this week. If you don't listen to this entire video, you will find that your grades might suffer this week. It's up to you. So you decide how you want to do this. What I would like for you to do is minimize this window so that it only takes up half of your screen. On the other half of your screen, I want you to open, you'll have to open a new tab, drag it over, and go back to your Google Classroom and click on the form. I want you to be able to see the form on one side and the video on the other. Okay? The next thing I'm going to ask you to do is to complete this reading passage and the questions. Use the highlighter how you believe it should be used and how you will use it on the EOG, but don't submit it. When you are done, come back here and watch the rest of this video and we'll go over the right answers together. Now, I'm not stupid. I know that some of you aren't going to go do this on your own. You're just going to sit here and let me tell you the answers. Well, that's great, but here's the deal. I don't have to take a 5th grade EOG. I did that years and years and years ago. You do. So it would make sense to me to go through this and try it, and then listen to me tell you what the right answers are and why they're the right answers, and see what you still need to work on, or see where you still have questions. That's just my thinking. So if you were going to do the very smart thing and pause the video and go answer the questions, then this is where you need to pause. When you're done, come back here and we'll go over the answers. So you're either still here or you actually did the smart thing and paused it and went and answered your questions and highlighted your answers, and now you're back to check your work. Either way, let's do this. The first thing I want to tell you that you need to do is make sure you read everything on the page. They put it on the page for a reason. Chances are there's going to be a question about what's on the page, or it's going to help you answer a question on the page. So our directions say read the selection and choose the best answer to each question. Then fill in the answer on your answer document. Well, now your answer document is not a paper document. It is simply the, you're going to click. So when we say fill in the answer, you're just going to click it. Okay. The very next thing is something most people would just skip right on over because we see here's the title. But this is important. This gives us the tiniest bit of background knowledge that we need to make this make sense. So our background knowledge is simply the narrator no longer wants to share a room with his younger brother. And this is taken from a writing called Playing the Field by Jeanette Rallison. We notice that all the paragraphs are numbered. That makes it easier to refer back to certain paragraphs when we're looking for answers. At home, I continued to be a model son in order to persuade my parents that I did, indeed, need a room of my own. That night after dinner, while I cleared off the table and Mom put things in the dishwasher, I asked her, "Did you talk to Dad about moving Kirk out of my room?" "Well, we talked about moving you into the office." "Me? Why do I have to be the one to move?" "Because you're the one who wants his own room." "But Kirk's the one that's impossible to live with." Mom handed me a dishcloth. "Kirk's been in that room since he was a baby. It will be easier on him to be alone if he's still in familiar surroundings." "But all the stuff in that room is mine. It's decorated with posters of my favorite baseball players." "I know it's not exactly fair," Mom said, "but if you want your own room, you'll have to make some concessions." So notice that this word is underlined. That will be important later. I knew she meant I had to let Kirk have his own way. "But don't you think Kirk would like to decorate a room with something he likes?" I asked. "Something with cowboys or astronauts or trains?" Mom poured the dish soap into its tray. "Kirk does like trains," she said. As she wiped off the counter, she called, "Kirk." A few minutes later, he trotted in. Mom put on the overly happy face she always uses to try to get Kirk excited about something. "Hey, sweetheart, I was just thinking about how much you like trains. Maybe you would like to spend more time with some trains?" "Are we going someplace?" Kirk asked hopefully. "Well, no, I was just thinking maybe we could decorate the office with train things." Would you like that? Yeah, Kirk said slowly, as though he knew there was a catch, but wasn't sure where. Wouldn't it be fun to move your bed in with all of the train things? No! His face scrunched up and he put his hands on his hips. I'm not moving to the office. I want to sleep in my baseball room. And he stomped off. She sighed. We'll give him a little time to adjust to the idea. I figured he could adjust while I moved his things out, but I didn't say so. I was being a model child. On Sunday, I told Kirk over and over again how neat his new room would be. It didn't matter. Kirk refused to adjust. He wanted his closet, his window, and his posters, which unfortunately also happened to be my closet, my window, and my posters. Mom and Dad said they'd try to reason with Kirk about it. Since when has reason solved anything in the world? That night I tried my own methods to convince Kirk to move. Kirk, I said, I haven't told you this before, but there's buried treasure somewhere in the office. Kirk surveyed me skeptically. What kind of treasure? Gold and silver, I whispered in awed tones, but when he didn't look impressed, I added, and Hot Wheels and flashlights and swords. If you move into the office, I bet you'll be able to find it. How come Mom and Dad have never told me about the treasure? They don't know about it. It was left there by the people who owned the house before we did. I continued slowly. I discovered a map for the treasure. I was going to find it myself, but if you agree to move to the office, I'll give you the map. Kirk pulled on the top of his pajamas carefully. I knew he was thinking it over. And I'll tell you another secret. I looked under the bed quickly as I said this. I've also discovered a bunch of monsters have moved into this room. I think I'd better stay here and fight them off so they don't eat anyone. I flung the closet door open quickly and jabbed my hand into the clothes a few times. Kirk said, You're just trying to scare me, so I'll move out. I put my arm against the back wall of the closet and acted like I was being sucked in. Oh no, I yelled. One's got me now. Kirk let out a scream and ran down the hallway to our parents' room. After a few minutes, Dad came into the room holding Kirk's hand and gave me a stern lecture about putting ideas into my brother's head. I don't know what Dad was worried about. If I could really put ideas in Kirk's head, the idea that he should move into the office would have stuck. All right, we're going to look at these questions and their answers. Number 1, what does the interaction between mom and the boys show about her? Mom is eager to help the narrator with his request. Mom tries to consider everyone's feelings when making decisions. Mom is angry that she has to give up her office for the narrator. Mom expects her children to act perfectly at all times. Well, having just read this, I don't recall Mom being angry, and I don't recall Mom expecting her kids to be perfect. He's the one trying to be a model son, right? She says, we talked about moving you into the office. Doesn't say she's angry about that. It doesn't even say it's her office. So I think that answer is going to end up being a trash answer. So I'm actually going to choose the writing tool instead of the highlight tool, and I'm going to choose red. Okay, and I'm going to say, you know what? That's not it. She doesn't expect him to be perfect, and actually I don't like the way that works on this one. I'm going to draw a line through it. She didn't expect him to be perfect, and she isn't angry. So I need to look at these two answers. Mom is eager to help the narrator with his request, or Mom tries to consider everyone's feelings when making decisions. Well, now I'm going to grab that highlight tool. She is wanting it to be easier on Kirk to be alone. She is trying to give him what he wants, his own room, even if it's not the room he wants. She is also putting on an overly happy face to try to get him excited about it. So she wants him to be happy too. And then at the end, when he says no, she's hoping that he will begin to adjust to the idea. So I think in this particular question, our best answer choice is not so much that she just wants to help one son, she wants both sons to be happy with the decision. Number 2, in paragraph 8, the word concessions refers to something that is, let's go see. She's been telling him that she and Dad have decided he could move into the office, and he doesn't want to because it's got all of his room is already decorated with his stuff. Mom says, I know it's not exactly fair, but if you want your own room, you'll have to make some concessions. Now, many of you are like, okay, I know what the concession stand is. She's not telling him he needs to make snow cones and hot dogs. You want your own room, you'll have to make some concessions. I knew she meant I had to let Kirk have his own way. Well, let's go see how that works out. Concessions. In that part of the story, was anything created by accident? No, I'm going to go grab my pen again. It was not created by accident. Decided without much thought? Well, this kid has thought about it. The parents have talked about it. Now the mom and the boy are talking about it. I think there's lots of thinking going on. Is he trying to keep something in a special area? Well, let's see. Sorry. I know it's not exactly fair, but if you want your own room, you'll have to keep it in a special area. No, that doesn't make any sense, does it? Let's go back. Done in order to come to an agreement. He says she meant I had to let Kirk have his own way. And she says, if you want your own room, you will have to do this. So he wants to come to the agreement that, yeah, we're going to each have our own room, but I want to keep my room. He's going to have to give that up and go to the office, is what Mom is saying. What is the best summary of paragraphs 1 through 19 of the story? Well, I know what paragraph 1 is. It's the beginning of the story, all the way down to where, and here I'm going to go all the way to this section here, 19. Mom says, we'll give him a little time to adjust the idea. I figured he could adjust while I moved his things out, but I didn't say so. I was being a model child. And the next part starts with on Sunday, and he's trying to get Kirk to believe that the office would be the better space. Okay. So 1 through 19, let's see. The narrator helps clean the table because he wants his own room. He's upset to hear that he will have to be the one to change rooms. He suggests that his brother would like a new room with his own decorations and reminds his mom that Kirk really enjoys trains. All that happened, but so much more happened in 1 through 19. So I don't think this is going to be it. I'm just going to draw my line straight through there. So let's go on to the second summary. The narrator asks his mother if she and his father talked about moving Kirk into a different room. The mother considers that Kirk might like to decorate a new room. She mentions trains to Kirk. Kirk becomes excited and thinks they are going somewhere with trains. Again, this stops way too soon, doesn't it? Let's keep going. I don't think this is it either. The narrator thinks of a plan that will make his brother happy and allow them both to have their own room. His mother says that Kirk should stay in the room he is currently in. She explains this has always been in that room and would be more comfortable there. He doesn't think about that plan until the end of the story to talk about the treasure or the monsters, so that's definitely not it. The narrator tries to be helpful so he can get his own room. He's talking about being a model son. He becomes upset when his mother says that he will have to move into the office. True. He tells his mother that Kirk would enjoy the new room. She talks to Kirk, but Kirk refuses to move out of their current room. And that's where we left it, where Mom said maybe he'll change his mind. So that's going to be the best answer. Read this sentence from paragraph 21. We don't have to go find it because they put it here for us. Since when has reason solved anything in the world? Now I'm going to go look at it because I need to know what was happening around that sentence. Mom and Dad said they would try to reason with Kirk about it. Since when has reason solved anything in the world? Does that make it sound like he thinks it's going to work to reason with Kirk? He says reason doesn't solve anything. Let's go see what our answer choices are. The sentence suggests that the narrator believes his parents do not understand why he wants his own room. I think his parents understand why. They just don't know how to give it to them and make everybody happy. The sentence suggests the narrator believes that he is unlikely to get the outcome he wants. Since when has reason solved anything? I like that answer. I don't like this answer. His brother is too young to understand what is being asked of him. Does this talk about his age? It does not. He has the same problem as many of his friends. It also doesn't talk about other children having this problem. So, since when has reason solved anything means he is unlikely to get the outcome that he wants. Number 5, which event occurs as a result of the narrator's conversation with Kirk? So this is the older son talking with Kirk. What happens after their conversation? Well, let's think about their conversation. The older son tells Kirk there's a treasure in the office and that he has a map. And then when that doesn't work, he tells Kirk that there are monsters and he needs to stay behind in the old room and fight the monsters. So let's see. What happens after that conversation, though? Kirk then runs away and tells Dad, let's go back. This won't take but a minute. So here we go. He says there's a treasure somewhere in the office. I have a map. I'll give you the map if you agree to move out. And another secret, a bunch of monsters have moved into the room. And then he pretends like he's being sucked in. Kirk ran down the hallway to the parents. Dad comes in. There's a stern lecture. It kind of caused a lot of problems in it. So what event occurs as a result of that conversation with Kirk? Kirk decides he would enjoy trains in his room. No. The narrator realizes that sharing a room with Kirk is not all that bad. No. Kirk becomes excited about moving his bed into the office. No. Dad is unhappy that the narrator tried to scare Kirk. Yes. How are the narrator and Kirk similar? They're both determined to get what they want. I think that's a good answer. Both enjoy sharing stories about hidden treasures. How many of them share stories about hidden treasures? Just the narrator. So that one is not it. Both feel their parents do not understand them. I don't think Kirk feels that way at all. Both know the best way to trick each other. Has Kirk tried to trick his older brother in this? So the only answer that we can prove is that they both are determined to get what they want. Kirk doesn't want to leave the room, and the narrator wants a room all of his very own. Now you are done. If you listened to what I said, then you made a 100 today. And that's it.